Hi, my name is Tanya Sanders, and this is the second video in this series. It's going to be about Google Classroom. So we're going to be talking about the basics of how you can get set up and organize your stuff into Google Classroom. I'm also going to share with you a classroom that I set up where you can learn more stuff about Google Classroom. That is just a recommendation, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get to it. But let me share my screen with you here and get Google Classroom started for you. Now, the one thing that you may need instantly is some videos telling the students how to get to your learning management systems like this. And I am using Zoom right now, and I will show you how to use Zoom in the next video in these series, how to use Zoom to screencast, which is basically what I'm doing. I'm showing you how to do things through my clicks and through my navigation in the video here. So I always have my students go to classroom.google.com. Sometimes it is over in the, I call this the little waffle. So you can go through these. I can never find it instantly, so I'd rather, there it is, I'd rather just go to classroom.google.com and get there a little bit faster. Now, the one thing that you are trying to do is create a class. So the first thing that you would do is you would go to this plus sign. The students will only have join class available. You will have create class. And let me show you the class that I have made for you if you want to explore it a little bit more. I'm going to be going over most of these with you. Now, talking about the joining a class, this is the class code that you would join to learn about my Google Classroom. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this. If you are not one of our school districts who have been whitelisted with NWOET, and we have not been whitelisted with your school district domain, then you won't be able to join this class. But because Google is so locked down with Google Classroom and the Google domain, especially Google Classroom, you would not be able to join my class unless your district whitelisted me, NWOET.org, and I whitelisted you. So if you're one of those districts that are whitelisted, then you can enter this code and you would be a part of this class. But in this class, under classwork, you can see a bunch of examples of how to conduct an online class using Google Classroom, getting started classroom basics, the interface, how to work in classwork, which is where we are now, and then some hands-on things to navigate through to understand a little bit more. Now, I'm in a class, and to get back, I'm going to hit these 3 dashes over here to get back to all my classes. Now, you need to create a class, so you're going to go over to the plus sign and create class, and I'm going to name it Practice for YouTube. And I can give it a section. You can have multiple sections of courses that you have in Google Classroom. And I'm going to call this one Technology, Professional Development, and I don't need a room number. So I'm going to hit Create. Now, after it's done creating the course, I'm going to talk to you about the different tabs that are available for you. Stream is the place where you're going to do most of your communication with your students. I only use the stream for announcements or quick changes, maybe kids sharing some information, links to some resources that you found that aren't related to your assignment. So keep the stream to communication announcement only. This is a place where you and the students can communicate as well. You can make comments, the students can make comments, and if you have the settings correct, the students can also post and make comments as well. It could be just a place for you, or it could be a place for the students. The classwork is where all of the assignments are going to be, materials, anything related to curriculum and learning. That's what the classwork is for. We will go over each of the things in there. People is the section where any of your students would be. This is where you would add a classroom teacher who's going to co-teach with you. Or not. You could have individuals, this could be your administrator, could be a part of your course, it could be a intervention specialist, it could be a gifted individual who's teaching those courses for you. But yes, basically this area is where you're going to add the people who are involved in your course, teachers or students. If it's connected directly to your directory of your Google domain, it will only allow you to invite the people that are part of your domain or whitelisted by your domain. So as soon as I start putting in names, it's going to pull up people in our domain, students that I can use. I also have a bunch of test students. So I could add a test student, invite that student to my course. And as soon as I select that student, I invite. It did not send them an email. Basically, that class is just going to be there for them. So if this is the way you want to add your students, you can manually add all your students, but there's an easier way for that. And then you may have the grades option. You may not. It was a beta, and I had to sign up for it to get it to pop up for our instructors in Google Classroom. Okay, so we're going to go back to the stream, and I'm going to talk about the things that we see on the stream here. From left to right, we have that 3 hashes that'll take us back to our classes. And then you have all of your courses in here. The one thing that I like to do, so if this is a class that has a lot of wonderful materials and content in it, and I want to use it again next year, or I want to do some tricky things with my students this year, and I want to delete things or add things or have things in a different view while I'm working through the class while the students are in it, I can hit these 3 dots and go to copy. So I can make a copy of the course. Let's say that I have English 1, English 2, and English 3, but I have 2 sections of each of those. I would create an English 1 class and copy it and make a different section. I would then create another English 2 class, have everything perfect in it, and then make a copy. And same thing with English 3. So if you make a copy, then you could go through and make multiple classrooms from that section. Now, here's the annoying thing about Google Classroom. When I have this universal class with all of this coursework in it, and I make a copy of it, so this is my universal Google Classroom. I'm going to go back to my classes, and I'm going to make a copy of it, and I'm going to call it example. Okay, and then hit copy. Now it's going to take a minute to copy it, but when it populates everything in that new course, they all are going to be drafts. It is kind of annoying. Okay, so let me find that one wherever it is. Example copy, there it is. Creating the class, it's still doing it. Now, when I click on it, you will see that, or when it finally opens, you'll see that it takes away the things being published or assigned, depending on how you want to think about it. So right here, for example, all of these things are visible to the students. Like all of the students can go to them. It doesn't say post or save as a draft or draft down there. These are ready for the students. All the students can see all of these things. When I go back to my 3 hashes and classes, it's still creating that class. When you open that, it will show you that they are all drafts. And I'm going to pause a little bit to wait for that class to become populated. So let me pause for you here. Okay, so now that copy is up there, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. This is a copy of a course. When I go to the classwork, draft, 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 draft. Now, what does that mean? The students cannot see any of those assignments at all. So I would have to go into and edit each one, and I would have to post. Okay, and as soon as I post it, now when it goes back to the classwork page, you'll see that it is now posted. And you can also tell that it's alive because it's colored. So if I went back in here and I said edit, I would have to do that for each and every one. As of now, there is no way to do that quickly. If you know of a way, or this video is outdated and they've fixed that problem, then make sure you email me and let me know about that. Okay, so that's one of the tricks that I found to be helpful with courses, is that I make a copy of that course, and then I don't have to rebuild it or rebuild it or rebuild it every time I need it. So I'm going to archive this because I'm going to show you how to delete it. So if I archive this class, now it's no longer in there. And when I go to my 3 little dashes on the left there, I can scroll down, and now I have archived classes. And in the archived classes is that example copy. Now I can delete that course, and it's going to be deleted for good. Now you can archive a class. It will put it in the that area, and you could refer back to it or use it years down the line, or even bring it, restore it, bring it out of the archived area, and then utilize some of the lessons that you did in there. Okay, so back to practice for YouTube. So those are the basics of that. I'm going a little too much detail because there are a lot of things about Google Classroom that I won't be able to talk about. That is just should be its own series. So I'm going to show you how to post an announcement to a stream, and then I'm going to talk to you about the basics of the classwork, and then you know, we're going to be done with this video because I don't want it to be too lengthy for you. I just want you to understand the basics of it. Now, the stream, like I said, is where you're going to share something with your class, an announcement. Now, some people do use this for the classwork area, like they use it as if there's curriculum there, there's assignments to do. I don't think that's a good idea at all. You want to utilize this only for the announcements, the communication with your students. So if you want to tell the students that, you know, don't forget about our meeting on Zoom this Friday at 10 a.m. Okay, now they're going to need a worksheet for this, or a link, or a YouTube video. I can add those things to this. So don't forget the meeting, and then I'm going to give them a link to the notes, or I'm going to find the notes in my Google Drive. And I can also upload some things, but I'm going to do my drive, and then maybe find a, there we go, agenda. And then I'm going to post it. Now, the couple options, and a lot of this stuff will be repetitious, especially the add. These 4 options to add are going to be the same on classwork. This is going to be repetitious. So let's say that I already have all my courses created. Now I'm populating it, so I could skip the copy part and just create all my classes and then populate this one and say, you know what, I'm going to put it in practice for YouTube and blended and online. And then as soon as I do that, I hit post, and it will go to all 3 of those classes. So it will post in there, in that announcement area. I only want it for my practice. If I had students in here, I could choose which students I wanted that announcement to go to. And I will show you that with some of my other courses. Okay, so I do want it to go to all the students. I don't have any students in this class, so it's not going to list those students. I'm going to post that, and now it's going to be an announcement for the students when they come into their Google Classroom. Now, the way that they can join the classroom is this code. That's what I showed you at the beginning to join my class. If they are a part of your domain, if they're a part of your school system and they are logged in with a Google account, then this is the code that they would put in. Let me go back to my 3 dashes, classes. They would put it in the join. So they would hit join class. They would type in that class code, and they get that class code right here. After they type that code in, then they will automatically be into your class. That is the quickest way to get students registered into your class. The classwork. This is the big place where you're going to do most of your work. The first thing that I always do is I create topics. And this Kami assignment thing, ignore that. Later on, we're going to have a Kami video. Just ignore the Kami assignment because that costs to use it. But hit topic, and what you're doing is you're creating a main heading of what is going to go into that area. Think of it as a label or as a folder, but it's going to organize all your stuff. I'm going to create another topic, and I'm going to call it week 2. And it places it in the way that you create it. So I'm going to take this one, boop, and put it down below. So week 1, week 2. And then when it comes time to add something to it, so let's start with a question. I like to organize my stuff within my topic in a certain way. I might start with a question every time, getting the students to think about it. What is the solar system? Okay, and then I can make it a short answer. I can make it a multiple choice. I'm going to leave it short answer because I want the students to give me their idea of what they think the solar system is. I can, like I said before, add any of these 4 items. I can also create any of these items. When it comes to submit, the students can add any of these 4 items, or they can create any of these 5 items. So the students can submit and respond to your request the same way that you entered things, added things for them. Now over here is the version of what I had shown you on the announcement. You can choose which courses that you want this question to go out to. I only want this course. And if I had more students, I could select which students it could go out to. It could be differentiated. You could put students in groups, so to speak, and only ask certain groups certain questions, and then continue with things face-to-face, or continue with them online with projects, research, whatever you're breaking them up into for whatever reason. I can give it a due date. As soon as I give it a due date, it will add it to a special Google Calendar for the students in their Google Drive. It looks like it's due tomorrow, and then this is where I distinguish which topic it goes to. So week 1 topic, students can reply to each other, students can edit answers. You just decide what you want to do with that. Now, I do have the option of saving it as a draft, scheduling it, or just asking it, and I'm just going to ask it. And you're going to see that it's going to go into the week 1 topic. There it is. And then now I can go in and decide to do or add a material. Now, there are different ways of doing this. I usually separate my stuff so that the students have lists to go through. So I start with a question, getting them thinking about things, and then I give them a video. And the video could be saying, this is what we're doing all week. I could tell them the content. I could start teaching them the content through the video, and I'm going to show you that in the Zoom video. But I do have a bunch of videos in my Google Drive, so I'm going to go to Add, Google Drive, and I'm going to go to My Drive and find the video that I want in there. Okay. Here's a video about how students would submit assignments. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to give it a title. Okay, so they're going to watch this video, and I could give them some instructions. Make sure that you watch this video. It's going to help you finish the assignments for the rest of the week. I can add more stuff. So you can add multiple things. So if I have a YouTube video on the solar system, I can add that. If I have a URL of a YouTube video that I'm looking for, I can paste it in this area. So solar system with song, with lyrics. So I'm going to add that. So I can add multiple things here. And like I said, some people will put one material, one item per. I'm the kind of person that varies it between based on whatever we need. If I want them to start thinking about Earth, then everything in here will relate to Earth. So I categorize it and I break them up. Same as in the last example, I can assign it to multiple classes, and I can assign it to specific students. And then I got to give it a topic. So I'm going to put this one in week 2. And again, I can post, schedule, save draft, or discard. I'm going to post. Now it's going to put it in week 2. So you're going to see one assignment in week 1 and another assignment in week 2. And there you go. Now let's say I messed up and this goes into week 1. I can click and hold on it, and then I can drag it right up there. So click, hold, drag it down, click, hold, drag it up, drag down. You also have the dots on the side that you can rename, delete, copy link, move up. This is copy link is good if you're using other places to give students assignments. You can put it in a Seesaw, you can put it in a Google Slide, but there's the link that'll get them back to this area. And then each of the assignments has an edit, delete, copy, move up, move down. So all of these have dots related to them. So this is a question. This is a material. I can give them also an assignment, and that's the main thing. And I give it a title. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to add a Google Doc for the students to answer some questions. I give them the instructions in there, and then I'm going to hit add, and I'm going to go look for a Google Doc to complete. Now, we are going to have a separate video that's talking about how to use Google Docs, so I'm not even going to show you how to create them in here. Basically, you've already created the Google Doc, and now you're adding via Google Drive. I brought this in, and now there is this option of student can view file, so that means they can't type on it, they can just look at it. Students can edit file, so that means all the students would be adding to the same file, or I can make a copy for each student. This is the way that makes it easiest for the students to complete worksheets, assignments, add things in there. So make a copy for each student. Again, same thing. I can go over here and I can select all the classes that it would be appropriate for, the assignment for them. This is going to require them to turn it in. Then we have how many points is it worth? And I can change that to whatever I like. We can also make it ungraded, and then a due date if we need that. Again, so I can select what I want. Again, the topic, week 1 or week 2, or I could create a topic in here if I'm like, oh, darn it, I had meant that to be week 3, and now I can assign it. Again, assign, schedule, save, draft, discard. With assignments, you can also add rubrics to show the students how to grade it. That's a really neat advanced feature. I'm not going to go into detail with that because we're just doing the basics of Google Classroom. So I'm done with this assignment. I'm going to hit assign. It's going to pop up in a new topic that's called week 3. So you're going to see topic week 1, week 2, and week 3. And I'm wondering if week 3 will be at the top. It will. So I don't want week 3 up there. I want it down below. Yes. And so over here, the students and I can just show that topic, but the default is all topics. So when the students come here, they can be like, oh, okay, I didn't do week 1 assignments. So they can go there and see everything for week 1, everything for week 2, and everything for week 3. When I go to all assignments, you can see the different icons, or all topics, I'm sorry. You can see the icons for this one was a question. This one is a material, and I use the material one the most. And this one is an assignment. That's something that you expect them to turn in. Now, on the assignment portion, let me get back in here and edit this. Some people will have the assignment and then have all the materials in the assignment that they're going to need to complete the assignment. That's an option as well, because you can always add or you can create. And then you can also expect the students to add or create. You don't need to give them the Google Doc to fill out, but this is the assignment. It has questions in it that you require them to answer by themselves. Each student will get a copy. So each of them will answer the questions, and then they'll be able to turn it in after they're finished with that. Their stuff will be over here because they don't have any of this assignment stuff. Basically, it'll have the assignment, the description, and then it'll have their create and add button over on that side there. So I'm going to hit save because that is, I'm done editing that. Another 2 things I'm going to mention very quickly. The quiz assignment, that is basically just giving you a blank Google form to fill out. You can delete that one and go find a Google form that you've already done and add it. One of our videos is going to be on Google form assessments, so you'll be able to see how that is done. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but same thing, title, instructions. I can add links, files, YouTube videos that'll help them answer this quiz, but for the most part, it is a blank quiz. Or actually it's a quiz that you're going to add questions to. They're going to answer the questions, and that's going to be the part that you're going to grade them on. You can assign it to other classes, multiple students, various students, independent students, individual. Give it a certain point amount, and then due date, give it a topic. There's a rubric associated with the Google form assessment piece as well, or quiz as they call it, and then you can assign it. I'm going to hit the X because I'm not going to create that assignment because it's it will just make it blank for them. And then the very last thing under the create is the reuse post. So let's say that I had this awesome assignment in my other class, online reading for K5. That's an awesome resource class to go to. So I'm going to click on that class and it opens up that class. And then I'm going to find the assignment that I want to put in there, example assignment, and then I'm going to reuse it. So if I have it in an old class or a current class that I'm working on and I want to add it to my current class, that add it to that one as well, there's 2 things associated with that. And then I'm going to assign it. Oh, I didn't say which week. It's going to put it under week 1 anyways. Okay, so there's that assignment. So under the create button, under classwork, which is the meat and potatoes of everything, you can create an assignment which requires them to turn something in. Ignore Kami assignment unless your district is paid for Kami, and there is going to be a video over Kami a little bit later. Quiz assignment, which is a Google form, and there's another video that's going to help you in detail with that to help you create forms that you can add in here or create in here. Question I did go over, which is going to allow you to write a question that the students can answer either multiple choice or short answer. The material, which is the majority of the things that you're going to be adding. If you have multiple things that you want to the students to learn about the universe, the solar system. Then you'll add all of those things, whether they're a Google document, a Google spreadsheet, a Google slide from your Google Drive. They're a link from a website that you've discovered, a file that you've downloaded or have created on your laptop, and or a YouTube video that you want them to explore as well. So you can add all those to it. And then since it is a Google product, all the Google aspects are also connected to creating different experiences, content, materials with that. So you could create from scratch any of these things. So no planning has to be done before you come in to the Google Classroom. And the last thing is reuse posts, which is very helpful if you know that you've done something in a previous class that you can just reuse that for these students. Maybe it's review, maybe it's a feedback quiz, or a question that you've asked another class that you think would be wonderful for this class to do. Again, the people are the teachers and the students associated with your class. The grades will be populated automatically. You don't have to add anything in there unless it's something that you had to grade. If it's a quiz, then it can automatically be graded. Multiple choice, checkbox, those kind of things can be automatically graded and the grades will be put in here. Looking at these things, you can add a meeting to your class. You would generate a meeting link. So that is something that can be done instantly within your classroom. So if you're using Google Meet, now the one that I'm going to be showing you, because it does multiple things, is Zoom, but you can also use Google Meet. Google Calendar, I said at the beginning that there is a Google Calendar associated with every class. So you can click on that. It'll take you directly to the calendar only for this course. Now it opened my Google Calendars, and here's the blended and remote learning one. And here's the new Google Classroom. So it shows you all the classrooms I've ever created, practice for YouTube. And you can see, if I get rid of all my other ones, that it'll show you all the stuff that is coming up for practice for YouTube class. And there's the question that I created and the assignment that I created. These are things that are expected to be done by the student. Okay, so back to the course. The last thing that I need to show you in the navigation is the class settings, which is the gear. So as soon as I hit the gear, here's the information about my class, general information. So if I want to copy the code, reset the code, or disable the code, if you have students who are misusing the code, or if you just need to reset it because someone's having trouble logging in with that code or joining with that code, you could reset it and maybe generate a different look from it. Here's where I said that you can say students can post and comment, students can only comment, only teachers can post or comment, and that's in the stream, in the announcement area. Classwork on the stream, on my stream, I just show condensed notifications. You can have detailed version of what is up and coming for the students, what assignments are going to happen, and then you can also hide notifications. Basically, when you get out of this and you go back to your stream, that's what this is right here, your notifications of what's coming up, and that's in the classwork. So I'm going to hit that gear again. I have guardian examples turned on. That is to send letters to parents if you add those parents to the classroom, and I can show you one of my classes to be able to demonstrate that. Here's the Google Meet, generate Meet link for your class. This is where you would do that to be able to add an automatic Google Meet for your classroom. And if you're concerned about the grading, this is where you would categorize, add categories to your grading, and how you're going to calculate it. You can weigh by category, so you can create some categories and then figure out how you want each of those categories to be weighed. This gives you a lot of flexibility with your grading and bonus and satisfactory, fail, pass, unsatisfactory, however you are doing your grades, it'll help you navigate that in here. Okay. So that is Google Classroom at its simplest. If you want to change some things here, select theme and upload a photo. I can change the look of it, so I can change that picture, or I can upload a photo that is directly connected to my district. There are a lot of things in Google Classroom, but for the most part, I have shown you the basics of them, and those basics are repetitious. When it gets to the advanced portion, it's how you're going to organize the content in there. But all the little details that I've given you in this video that's longer than I really wanted it to be will help you build your first course. And there is going to be a Google Classroom course also included in this YouTube series for credit. So if you didn't get enough from this basic introduction of Google Classroom, you can look into that further to get more details about what is Google Classroom all about. So I will let you continue on with this series, going into the Zoom expectations and Google Docs, Google Groups, Kami, and then the assessment piece, which is Google Forms.